Howdy, everybody. So today we're going to talk about briefly kind of the Pittman Robertson Act. We had that one earlier video on Roosevelt and conservation. This is kind of the next step on how to maintain more conservation efforts in the United States today. So this is kind of the logos for the Pittman Robertson Act. Sometimes it's just the deer, sometimes it's hunting and fishing, so they get the fish in there too. But the idea behind the Pittman Robertson Act is to take the funds from things that hunters and fisher and sportsmen and women buy, put a tax on it. I think it's an 11% excise tax on sporting arms, this is guns, ammunition, and archery equipment, and 10% tax on handguns. So put a tax on all these things, and that tax gets directly allocated towards conservation efforts. So you kind of see the stuff in this, what they call the cycle of success. So you have anglers, so that's fishers, hunters, boaters, all these kinds of things, buy equipment. The manufacturers pay an excise tax on that, so that goes into the markup on those goods. Then the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service allocates that to the various states. So if Texas is a big state, so we have a lot of hunters and fishers and all these types of guys and girls. So we say, okay, well, we need this much to maintain our wild places and our wild animals. So we get some of those grants. Those go to our state agencies. Those agencies implement different processes using that money, better fishing, boating, hunting, and wildlife-oriented recreation. So you see this, there's a lot of money coming in from this. So we're talking hundreds of millions each year. So almost 800 million from the Pittman Robertson Fund, and then almost 900 million from hunting and fishing licenses. So this is a massive amount of money coming in that's put directly towards the environment. So when we think about hunters or fishers or anglers, whatever you want to call them, as taking from the environment, hurting it, and doing all these terrible things, they're really not. Like, in their own way. Now, don't get me wrong, there are people who do abuse and misuse the stuff that are hunters, but you can't generalize in that context. Most hunters want the land and the wildlife to exist year after year. So they want to be putting this money in. They want this money to be used in a wise way. But more than just hunters and fishers benefit from it. So it's not just the guy that goes hunting or the lady that goes hunting that's going to benefit. It is anyone who wants to go for a nature hike, who wants to go camping, wants to do any of these things. A vast majority of these funds is coming from programs like the Pittman Robertson Act and the taxes on things like hunting licenses, hunting and fishing licenses. So we got to understand all these things are interconnected within the United States. You can't have one without the other. If you want national parks and protected environmental wild places, then you got to have the other. Because unless you're willing to put that money up front yourself, which is the fundamental problem, most of these anti-hunting organizations put so little money up for the actual agencies that the agencies have to kind of tailor their targeting towards the hunters and fishers and all these other people, because they are the ones that are providing the bulk of the funds. Now, they want to make it a good experience for everyone, but you got to understand this is where the vast majority of the funds come from to keep our parks and wild places open and our animals and populations healthy. So we'll stop there for today and pick up with more next time.